The long wait is nearing its end. Spencer Dutton is on his way home, and his return promises to be anything but quiet. After months of hardship, battles fought across continents, and facing impossible odds, his anticipated arrival is poised to ignite a firestorm that could forever change the course of the Dutton legacy. The concluding episodes of 1923 are shaping up to be an electrifying mix of retribution, atonement, and raw, visceral emotion, setting the stage for confrontations that will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact. As tensions escalate and adversaries close in, the Yellowstone Ranch is about to become a battleground on a scale not seen before. Prepare yourself, because what is coming next is bound to be momentous. To be frank, Spencer's journey back to Montana has felt painstakingly slow. We've watched him overcome one hurdle after another, the promise of his return feeling like a distant echo. It's been akin to observing someone run tirelessly without gaining ground. He's encountered figures of the Italian mob, tasted the local fare, navigated the complexities of Prohibition-era social groups, and crossed paths with determined law enforcement. All historical touchpoints that, while interesting, sometimes seem to delay the central purpose of his art. Each installment felt like a variation on a theme. Spencer declares his urgent need to return, an unforeseen event disrupts his plans, and we find ourselves essentially back where we started. Yet now, finally, momentum is building. As the fifth episode concluded, we saw Spencer making contact with the Montana sheriff, signaling his imminent arrival and his readiness to confront the challenges awaiting him. He met the sheriff's warnings with unwavering resolve, boarding the next available transport westward without hesitation. However, based on early descriptions, his actual arrival at the train station, where Jacob and his loyal crew are said to be waiting, won't occur until the seventh episode. This suggests the sixth episode will likely chronicle Spencer's transit, and glimpses hint it will be far from smooth. A brief shot in upcoming previews shows Spencer moving quickly through a train car, his face etched with fury. It seems probable he will once again find himself a target, perhaps of another attempt to steal what he carried. It appears that opportunistic crime was a prevalent challenge in the 1920s, with threats seeming to emerge from every corner. But here is where the narrative sharpens. Many viewers have speculated, quite reasonably, that Donald Whitfield would not passively allow Spencer to return unopposed. It stands to reason he might dispatch individuals to intercept Spencer before he even sets foot back in Montana, an attempt to neutralize the returning Dutton heir. The emphasis, of course, is on attempt, given Spencer's demonstrated capability. This leads to a critical question. Who exactly will be present when Spencer disembarks? While the episode description mentions Jacob and his crew, it's highly improbable they will be the only one. Donald and Banner will undoubtedly have made their own preparations, especially if they've received advance warning. And speaking of potential warnings, the role of the local sheriff becomes particularly intriguing. While some might expect him to notify Jacob and Kara first regarding Spencer's return, many have voiced skepticism about his allegiances, suggesting he might prioritize informing Donald, thereby potentially setting a trap. There is indeed a point where the sheriff approaches Jacob, attempting to dissuade Spencer from returning in an effort to maintain a fragile peace in the territory. But as previews indicate, Jacob's response is anything but conciliatory. He is quick to remind the sheriff that it was Donald who initiated this conflict by attempting to seize their land through underhanded means. Faced with Jacob's firm refusal to yield, the sheriff will likely feel compelled to assemble his own contingent of law enforcement to intervene in what is rapidly escalating into an inevitable confrontation. Thus, when Spencer finally steps off that train, he may very well be stepping into a maelstrom, caught between his family's welcoming party, Donald's hired muscle, and law enforcement, seeking to prevent bloodshed. One can only feel a degree of apprehension for Spencer. After enduring so much, he could be walking directly into the most perilous situation yet. The full extent of this confrontation is reserved for the seventh episode, leaving ample room for anticipation regarding how it will unfold. A particularly compelling detail that has surfaced suggests this impending gunfight might offer insight into the origins of the infamous train station locale featured in Yellowstone. that desolate cliff where adversaries of the Duttons are often disposed of. The implication is that Banner Creighton may inadvertently or intentionally establish this grim tradition by callously discarding a body over the embankment. The scene, if it occurs, is expected to be as brutal and somber as one might anticipate. More detailed discussion on this will likely follow once the episode airs. Turning our attention to Alexandra, with Spencer en route to Montana, one might assume she is following closely. However, based on available information and the show's established rhythm, it appears her storyline may take a different turn. The series has tended to feature Alexandra prominently in one episode, with less focus in the next. Given her significant presence in Episode 5, it's plausible that Episode 6 will offer only a brief look into her circumstances, perhaps a rare moment of relative calm before potential turmoil. It's speculated that the family providing her refuge may insist on medical attention once they discover she is expecting, and this development could precipitate a crisis. Many viewers are bracing for the possibility that she might suffer a miscarriage or fall gravely ill, potentially preventing her reunion with Spencer. The tragic irony here is poignant. If Alexandra were to reach Montana, it would represent one of the most emotionally resonant and triumphant moments in the entire Yellowstone narrative. Yet, there is a pervasive sense that the narrative is setting the stage for a heartbreaking outcome. The groundwork for a potentially devastating conclusion to her story has seemingly been laid, and the fear is that her journey may end before she ever sees Spencer again. While I sincerely hope this prediction is unfounded, the direction of the storyline feels ominous. Shifting focus to Teonna Rainwater's path, it feels as though she is approaching a critical juncture. Her powerful pronouncements in Episode 5 suggested a profound realization that she cannot perpetually flee the repercussions of her actions. After fighting fiercely to protect herself and those she cares for, she finds the options narrowing. She stands at a crossroads, continue to run or make a definitive stand. Her words felt like a clear indication of what's to come. In the next installment, it seems highly probable she will take matters into her own hands, choosing to confront Father Renaud and permanently end his oppressive influence. Although it should be noted that the actor portraying Renaud is listed in the credits for Episode 7, suggesting the ultimate confrontation might be reserved for the season finale. The hunted is poised to become the hunter, and the catalyst for this transformation will likely be the devastating news of Pete's death. Once Teonna learns that her young companion was brutally murdered, something fundamental within her will likely break. It will be a moment of profound grief and a surge of righteous vengeance. The interaction in which Teonna receives this tragic news is anticipated to be one of the most emotionally charged sequences, potentially delivered by the female marshal, a character who has been tracking Teonna, but whose own complex relationship with justice might lead to an unexpected alliance. The marshal's pursuit has been relentless, but their eventual encounter may not unfold as a simple capture. Given the marshal's nuanced perspective on the law and its application, a surprising understanding or even a fragile alliance could form between the two women. Returning to the Dutton Ranch, the atmosphere is thick with impending conflict. Jacob, having recovered from his injuries, has been strategically preparing for war, gathering allies and fortifying their defenses. Episode 6 is expected to reveal the full extent of these preparations. The ranch hands who have remained steadfast in their loyalty to the Duttons will be depicted arming themselves, establishing lookout points, and creating a defensive perimeter around the property. The working ranch will be transformed into a stronghold, and everyone understands the gravity of the impending fight. Cara Dutton remains the emotional anchor of the family, yet even her remarkable strength is being tested. We are likely to see her composing another letter to Spencer, uncertain if it will ever reach him, pouring out her deepest fears and enduring hopes as the situation grows increasingly dire. These letters have served as a powerful narrative device throughout the season, offering a window into Cara's inner world, while subtly connecting the disparate storyline. Her words in this instance will likely carry particular weight, reflecting on the family's resilience and the uncertain future that looms. Meanwhile, Donald Whitfield is systematically consolidating his power over the surrounding land. His strategy of leveraging debt against neighboring ranchers is yielding results, reinforcing his belief that his ultimate victory is inevitable. We may see a scene of him in his study, perhaps with Banner Creighton, outlining their final maneuvers against the Dutch. Whitfield's arrogance is anticipated to be on full display, as he underestimates the depth of the Duttons' resolve and their willingness to fight for their heritage. He operates under the assumption that wealth can acquire anything, but he is about to discover that some things, like the unyielding determination of a Dutton, are beyond monetary value. Banner Creighton presents an intriguing element of unpredictability in this unfolding drama. While he has aligned himself with Donald, their partnership has always appeared to be one of mutual convenience rather than genuine loyalty. The upcoming episode might reveal the first signs of strain in this alliance, particularly as Banner begins to recognize his own potential expendability in Donald's larger ambition. There could be a moment where Banner contemplates shifting his allegiances or prioritizing his own survival and interests, separate from Donald's overarching plan. After all, Banner's primary motivation has consistently been self-preservation, and he has demonstrated a keen ability to discern the shifting tides of power. The sheepherders, caught in the middle of this escalating power struggle, will find themselves in an increasingly precarious position. We may witness some of them making desperate attempts to abandon the region entirely, recognizing that regardless of who prevails, their traditional way of life is likely facing extinction. Their potential exodus would serve as a poignant visual representation of the changing landscape of the American West, where traditional agricultural practices are being supplanted by larger industrial and financial interests. We must also consider the storyline of Jack and Elizabeth, which has been less central in recent episodes. With Jack having recovered from his injuries, he will undoubtedly be eager to join the fight alongside his great-uncle Jake. This will inevitably create tension with Elizabeth, who is still grappling with the emotional aftermath of her miscarriage and the terrifying prospect of losing her husband. Their conflict embodies the enduring dilemma faced by the Duttons, balancing familial love and personal safety with the unwavering duty to protect the ranch at all costs. It is highly probable that we will witness a heated exchange between them, with Elizabeth pleading for Jack to reconsider the risks he is willing to take. The political landscape of Montana will also likely be brought into sharper focus. The episode may illustrate how local officials are reacting to the escalating conflict, many of them undoubtedly influenced by Donald Whitfield's considerable wealth and influence. There could be a scene where Jacob confronts one of these compromised figures, perhaps the mayor or a local judge, challenging them on their failure to uphold their duty to the community they are meant to serve. Such a moment would powerfully underscore the broader themes of the series, how money and power can corrupt the principles of justice in the nascent American West. The idealistic vision of the frontier has always been vulnerable to forces seeking to exploit and undermine. The natural environment will also play a significant role. Montana winters are notoriously harsh, and the encroaching storm clouds will serve as both a literal challenge and a symbolic representation of the darkness descending upon the Dutch. The brutal conditions will add another layer of difficulty to Spencer's arduous journey and could potentially delay the arrival of any support that Jacob might be relying upon. This environmental pressure cooker will undoubtedly heighten the tension, as all factions rush to make their moves before the full force of winter immobilizes the land. The Native American elders, who have offered guidance and shelter to Teonna, will face increasing peril as authorities intensify their search for her. We may witness them grappling with difficult decisions about whether to continue providing refuge or encourage her to surrender for her own safety. Their wisdom and perspective offer a crucial counterpoint to the viewpoints of the European settlers regarding the land and its significance, reminding the audience that this conflict extends far beyond the immediate struggle of the Dutton family and their adversary. Episode 6 is also likely to provide further insight into the residential school where Teonna endured abuse, perhaps showing the aftermath of her escape and how the institution is responding to the growing scrutiny and threat to its authority. The staff and clergy remaining there may double down on their harsh disciplinary methods, fearing that any perceived weakness could embolden other students to resist or flee. This storyline continues to shed light on a deeply painful chapter in American history, the systematic attempts to suppress and erase indigenous cultures through these boarding schools. The spiritual dimensions of the show are also expected to become more prominent. We have already seen how Native American beliefs and practices have influenced Teonna's resilience, but we may also witness Kara turning to prayer in her most challenging moments, seeking solace, guidance, and protection for her family. This exploration of faith under duress adds another layer of complexity to the characters, illustrating how they find meaning and purpose even amidst profound chaos and uncertainty. Spencer's experiences in Africa and Europe have undeniably transformed him, and these trials will shape his approach to the impending conflict. Unlike the younger man who left Montana, this Spencer understands the true, devastating cost of violence. He is not rushing home in a blind, vengeful rage, but with the calculated determination of a seasoned survivor. We may see flashbacks to his time hunting dangerous predators, or his experiences in the trenches of World War I, moments that forged his understanding of survival and strategy. These reflections will lend deeper meaning to his eventual actions, demonstrating that he is not merely fighting out of familial obligation, but from a profound understanding of the stakes involved and what is truly worth fighting for. The economic realities of 1920s America will continue to serve as an important backdrop. While the country was experiencing a period of apparent prosperity, particularly in urban centers, rural areas like Montana were already feeling the economic pressures that would eventually contribute to the Great Depression. Donald Whitfield embodies the new force of industrial capitalism encroaching upon these traditional spaces, viewing the land not as a sacred heritage to be preserved, but as a resource to be exploited for maximum profit. Episode 6 might offer further glimpses into his operations, perhaps revealing his treatment of his workers, or his ultimate intentions for the valley once he exerts control. Technology is another fascinating element of this transitional era that the show has effectively explored. In the upcoming episode, we may see the stark contrast between the Duttons' traditional ranching methods and the more modern techniques that Donald seeks to implement. Cars versus horses, telegrams versus letters, traditional rifles versus potentially more advanced weaponry. These juxtapositions highlight the period of significant change the story occupies, as America shifts from its frontier past toward an increasingly industrialized future. Spencer, having witnessed the wider worlds, serves as a bridge between these eras, potentially bringing new knowledge and strategies back to Montana, while still honoring the deep-seated traditions that form the bedrock of his family's legacy. The women of 1923 deserve particular recognition, as they have consistently been portrayed as some of the most formidable characters in the series. Kara, Alexandra, Elizabeth, Teonna, and even the female Marshall represent different facets of womanhood in this era, challenging and expanding the limited roles society often attempted to impose upon them. Episode 6 will undoubtedly continue to showcase their resilience, agency, and inner strength, perhaps featuring a scene where they confide in one another, sharing their fears and drawing strength from their shared experiences as they prepare for whatever challenges lie ahead. The generational themes that are a cornerstone of the entire Yellowstone universe will be particularly prominent as Jacob and Spencer's reunion draws near. Their relationship embodies the passing of the torch, with the elder Dutton recognizing that the future stewardship of the ranch will soon rest in younger, capable hands. There might be a poignant moment where Jacob reflects on his own life's journey, perhaps looking at old family photographs or visiting the graves of ancestors who came before him, contemplating his place in the long, arduous line of Duttons who fought to protect this land. Such contemplation would add significant emotional weight to the impending confrontation, reminding the audience of the profound historical stakes that extend far beyond any single battle or conflict. As Episode 6 builds toward its climax, we will likely see the various, seemingly disparate storylines begin to converge, setting the stage for the explosive conflicts to come. Separate character arcs that may have felt somewhat disconnected will start to reveal their underlying interconnectedness, creating a powerful sense that the final pieces of a complex narrative puzzle are falling into place. This narrative tightening will generate tremendous momentum, leading into the final 2 episodes, making it abundantly clear that no one, regardless of their position, is likely to emerge from the coming storm unscathed. The episode is expected to conclude with several compelling cliffhangers, designed to leave the audience in eager anticipation. Perhaps we will see Spencer's train pulling into the station, with the screen cutting to black just moments before he steps onto the platform, leaving his immediate fate uncertain. Or perhaps we will witness Alexandra receiving devastating news regarding her pregnancy, leaving viewers to wonder how she will possibly cope with such a profound blow while separated from Spencer. Teonna might finally confront Father Renault, their long-simmering conflict, poised to erupt in the subsequent episode. These unresolved tensions and uncertainties will create an almost unbearable level of anticipation for what is to come. Looking ahead to the concluding episodes, it is starkly clear that not all of the characters the audience has come to care about will survive to the end. The Yellowstone franchise has never shied away from the difficult decision to eliminate major characters, and 1923 has continued this tradition. The question is not whether there will be significant casualties, but rather who will fall and how their sacrifices will fundamentally alter the trajectory of the surviving characters and the Dutton legacy as a whole. It feels likely that at least one prominent Dutton family member will not live to see the final credits, and their death will irrevocably shape the future of the story. The legacy aspects of 1923 are particularly compelling when viewed through the lens of the modern-day Yellowstone series. We are witnessing the very genesis of traditions, grudges, and survival instincts that will resonate for generations, ultimately influencing the lives of characters like John, Beth, and Kate. The train station disposal site is just one potent example of how this prequel is providing crucial context and filling in significant gaps in the Dutton family mythology. Episode 6 may introduce other foundational elements that will become integral to the Dutton identity, perhaps related to their unyielding code of loyalty or their distinctive approach to confronting external threats. Something that holds particular interest is seeing how Spencer's extensive military and survival experience informs his strategy against adversaries like Donald and Banner. Will he introduce tactics from modern warfare into what is in essence a conflict rooted in the methods of the frontier era? His time hunting dangerous predators in Africa and enduring the brutal realities of the trenches in World War I has undeniably equipped him with a unique understanding of combat and survival that none of his adversaries possess. This specialized expertise could prove decisive in the battles to come, potentially demonstrating why he was the only individual capable of saving the ranch, as Kara so presciently observed in her letters. Episode 6 is unlikely to offer easy resolutions or simplistic answers, but it will continue to challenge the audience to view this complex, historical period not merely through the conventional lens of heroes and villains, but through the eyes of individuals fighting desperately for their survival and their way of life, in a world undergoing rapid and often brutal transformation. As we prepare for these final episodes, it is worth reflecting on the masterful way this chapter of the Dutton saga has been crafted. What could have been a mere historical footnote has blossomed into a rich, multifaceted narrative in its own right, populated by characters whose struggles and triumphs have deeply resonated. Episode 6 is poised to remind us why we have become so invested in this world, delivering moments of shocking violence, profound emotional depth, and the kind of moral complexity that is a hallmark of the entire franchise. So, steel yourselves for the upcoming episode. The fuse has been lit, the key players are in position, and the resulting impact is imminent. A Dutton is coming home, and there is no doubt that after his arrival, nothing, absolutely nothing, will